Hey, what's going on, everybody? Paul here, and I'll be your DM for a while. And I bet you were thinking, well, are you ever going to finish this series on the Vilhon Reach? And my answer is yes. And today I bring to you the Shining Plains. Now, before I get into the Shining Plains, I want to tell you why. Why the Vilhon Reach? Well, it's one of my favorite settings because, well, it has a player's guide to it. It is just robust. It's a robust setting to put players in, to gallivant around in, and there's just tons and tons of adventure hooks to be found. And that's what this video is about today. I hope that you'll hang out with me for a while. And if you like what you see, I hope that you'll hit that subscribe button and be a part of the community. And before we get going today, I want to let you know about two things that you may be interested in. First, I have a zine, that's right, and it is a three-part kind of a zine. It has three different categories to it, and one of them is my own setting called Kriesh, and I have dubbed it the Hex Crawl of Horror because horrible, terrible things have happened there. They keep getting worse, but you know what? There is hope. So if you're interested in settings, I hope you'll check out my setting from Crit Happens, the Hex Crawl of Horror. There'll be links down below where you can check it out for yourself. And the second thing I want to let you know about is that if you become a member of the channel, not only do you get these videos early, you also get my zine for only $1. Normally it's $2, but because you're a member, you're going to get 50% off. Future videos, not only about the Vilhon Reach, but maybe Sword of the Iron Legion or the Pirates of Fallen Stars, which kind of is loosely connected right here to Vilhon Reach. But you get old school videos just like this, as well as getting special live streams where I actually walk through some of my resources and you kind of get to put your fingerprints on it and offer me suggestions of what I could do to make them better. So I hope that you consider becoming a member. Go ahead and click that membership button and join today. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the Shining Plains. So let me tell you about the Shining Plains. The Shining Plains are a geographical region, not a unified group of city-states, and it's named for the shimmering effect created by the sun's rays. This is a kind of a no man's land. In other words, it's a large area in the Reach, largely controlled by wildlife. The Tenpaw Tribe of Wemix is the largest and most organized entity known for being peaceful and coexisting with humans, thri-kreens, and centaurs. And as I said, this area has an abundance of wildlife. Horses from the Shining Plains are renowned for speed and endurance. They have a +1 extra hit die, like the Light War Plain Steed has 3 hit die. They gain a +1 bonus on all attacks and damage rolls, and they usually sell for about 75 gold pieces more than normal horses or the price of the next better horse. And if you're looking for rules for horses and horse combat, my friend the Erudite DM has a resource called Warhorse, and it is all about warhorses and riding and all of those things. So I encourage you to go by and check it out. Links will be down below. And there's all kinds of herds out there. There's wild animals like herds of bison and elk and mammoths. Those are pretty common out there. And predators are pretty prevalent, naturally controlling herd populations. And hunting is a popular sport out there, attracting hunters to Ormath, Lashel, and Assam. Regulated by the Druidic faiths and enforced by the Emerald Conclave. And if you've listened to my other videos, you know how I feel about the Emerald Conclave. They are just a worse version of Greenpeace, in my opinion. Hunting season usually is primarily limited to late summer and fall. And sometimes they have special spring seasons, sometimes designated for specific herd animals based on winter severity to ensure ecological balance. But if you are caught hunting outside of those regular seasons, you will be the one who is hunted by the druids and the non-human tribe. So don't go hunting when it's not hunting season. Now, the boundaries for the Shining Plains officially ends north near Necleth and officially ends south outside of Cirque. And there's a common saying for travelers of the Shining Plains: when you see the spines of the serpent, which is the spine of the Cirque mountain range, then you've crossed into a new land. Let's talk a little bit about the politics of the Shining Plains. Now listen, there's no central rule. The Shining Plains are not governed by a single overarching authority. Instead, the Emerald Enclave oversees the large animal populations within the plains. Now there are independent cities that I had mentioned earlier, and these cities are independent but form an alliance and cooperate during times of crisis. The city dwellers prioritize a symbiotic relationship with the surrounding land and its sentient creatures, the Wemix, the centaurs, the thri-kreen, rather than conflict. Now, they do have an annual meeting. They gather together at the Hill of Memories. Now, the Hill of Memories does have some historical significance. It is the site of the Field of Tears battle with the Weemics in 326 DR. And the purpose of this annual meeting is to show respect for all those who died in battle, to ensure past mistakes are not repeated, and delegates from Weemics and the Centaurs and the Thread Queen and the Emerald Enclave also attend. Leaders discuss problems that arose over the past winter, such as monster ravages and planned solutions, whether they be direct actions or hiring adventurers to solve the problem. Let's talk a little bit about the customs of the Shining Plains. Now, hunting is a significant part of life due to the plainsmen's focus on wildlife, so hunting is certainly a custom for them. From a young age, individuals are taught to respect life and are instructed on which creatures to hunt and which to avoid. There's also a strong tradition of keeping pets, especially dogs and wolves, and these animals are typically well-trained and protective of their owners. Now, this is kind of interesting. Homes do not have private baths. Communal bathhouses are built in every city, often over hot springs if available. Now, one of my theories behind this is that so that people can't bring weapons in. So if you're having a business meeting or a tribal meeting of some kind, nobody can bring weapons in and the meeting remains safe. Now, I'm sure the main reason is so that neighbors get to know each other. I mean, listen, if you're taking a bath with your neighbor, how much more would you get to know your neighbor? If your home or your neighborhood didn't have plumbing in it and everybody had to go to the community bathhouse, I think you'd know your neighbors a lot more, probably a lot more than you really wanted to. But for this society, it clearly is working for them. And something else that is interesting in this society is the women of the Shining Plains. They're responsible for traditional duties of womanhood, such as raising the children, cleaning the house, and making dinner, but they are also free to pursue careers in business, horsemanship, hunting, scouting, and others. The only career they are not currently allowed to pursue is one in politics. That is a station reserved for men. Marriages are typically an even partnership. Still, women are a powerful force in politics. After all, the wives of politicians have direct access to their husbands. This has led to a rising call across the plains to allow women into politics. Within a few years, sages speculate that women will make their entrance into the politics of the Shining Plains. Boy, that would be an interesting time to have your PCs there, where there's this contentious rivalry maybe between some male chauvinists who do not want these females to run for office or things like that, and maybe you're assigned to protect a female politician. There are two festivals celebrated on the Shining Plains. The first is the Festival of the Hunt, and it's an annual summer event held just before the regular hunting season, where young adults prove their transition into adulthood. Participants, both male and female, demonstrate their proficiency with a bow and tracking skills. Their objective is to hunt and kill a randomly chosen herd animal with a single arrow. Then efficiently skin and clean it to minimize waste. If the animal is mortally wounded but escapes, it serves as an additional test of tracking ability. Successful hunters keep a memento of the animal, such as a tooth or an antler piece, which they typically wear on a necklace or anklet. And this would be a fun just one shot where you are playing one of these young men, maybe 13, 14 years old, transitioning into manhood, and you have to go out on the hunt and track down one of these animals. Of course, the animal could be anything. It could be bison or it could be a mammoth. But then, of course, there's complications. There's other things that are out there that might be hunting you as well. The second festival is the Sun Festival, and is an occasional celebration held on the last day of Elysius, which is high sun, to honor significant contributions made by outsiders to the people of the Shining Plains. These contributions can range from an individual eliminating a dangerous predator to an adventuring party dealing with a major monster. The festival involves a night of feasting and dancing where these heroes are formally welcomed as members of the community. As part of the ceremony, each honoree cuts their hand and allows blood to spill onto the ground, symbolizing their bond. A female then bandages their hand, and the heroes spend the rest of their evening shaking hands with their uninjured hand. And I think this would be a great way to wrap up that type of adventure, that if you're hired to kill a monster in the plains, then why not make it a sun festival at the end, where the PCs are celebrated and rewarded. There are three major human cities on the Shining Plains, alongside important habitation areas for other sentient races. Non-humans are mostly nomadic, moving across the plains year-round. Now, we're going to talk about Assam. Assam is one of those three major human cities, the northernmost city of the Shining Plains, serving as a stopover for travelers from Gulfmere or those boating south along the Wet River. It's the last outpost of civilization before the Neckleth or communities further north when leaving the plains. Assam is a hub for merchants and traders. Caravans frequently use Assam as a resting place before venturing further into the Reach. Visitors will often see caravans, wagons, and herds of animals circling Assam, resembling a waiting army. Assam is ruled jointly by representatives from Lashel and Ormath, the two larger cities to the south. This arrangement was established as a partnership to prevent further conflict between the Lashel and Ormath. There's minimal government interference with merchants, giving them significant freedom, which contributes to Assam's popularity among traders. And despite the freedom, Assam is not lawless. A strong militia maintains order and minimizes violence. There's also a trio of judges appointed from Lashel and Ormath, and they handle major disputes quickly. The current mayor of Assam is Halanar Tempest. He is a master politician focused on maintaining smooth operations and ensuring money flow unobstructed to the south to keep his job secure. And they do offer one little adventure hook here for Assam, and that is that a recent caravan he sent south was ambushed and the money stolen. Tempest needs to find the bandits to avoid issue with Ormath and Lashel, and is currently seeking adventurers to act as trackers as his militia is too busy. I don't know, that's a dead giveaway. I'm thinking Halanar Tempest is took this money somehow. But you run it how you want to run it. The second city in the Shining Plains is Lashel, and it is the easternmost city of the Shining Plains. It is the equestrian capital, home to the majority of the plain steeds, which is their best horse, produces a significantly larger number of horses than Ormath and Assam combined, recognized as the undisputed equestrian capital of the Reach. As far as their military goes, primarily composed of cavalry, as you would suppose, while effective on the open plains, one of their drawbacks is they're not very good at hand-to-hand combat. I guess you don't have to be, though, if you're riding horses, right? But don't lose your horse. That's kind of the deal. Lashel forces are renowned for their riding skills, of course. Their ruler, ruled by Chief Antuwanata, and he comes from a long line of city chiefs. Although his rule is not as competent as his predecessors, he has proven to be a capable diplomat on the few occasions that he has traveled outside the city. And he typically represents Lashel at the annual meeting at the Hill of Memories. As far as their trade goes, they engage in a considerable amount of trade within the Reach and the eastern cities of Riatfin and Saradush. Their primary trade commodity is horses, and also has some outlying farms that cultivate wheat and rice. The third city in the Shining Plains is Ormath, and Ormath is the most belligerent of the three cities in the Shining Plains, prone to conflict over minor offenses. This could be a lot of fun. I mean, listen, if you're going to either start a war or try to stop a war, it's going to involve Ormath, probably, right? Well, it's situated between the trade centers of Hondeth in the west and Lashel in the east, with its economy heavily reliant on traffic along the Pikeman's Folly Road. In the past, Ormath sought to conquer Hondeth, the gem of the Vilhon. Currently, it focuses on capturing as much mercantile traffic as possible. Ormath is known for its surrounding bison herds. Many citizens earn a living by producing and selling salted bison meat to travelers. Ormath is ruled by Lord Cuin, a large man, a true warrior. He often personally leads patrols outside the city walls to clear bandits from the roads to the east and the west. And this comes with a little adventure hook. Lord Cuin is worried about reports of lizardmen in the Wetwoods. He has sent several squads to investigate, but none have returned. So you could always put this in front of your PCs and see if they're interested in going out there to the Wetwoods and see what's up with those lizardmen. Now, there are plenty of other locations in the area here of the Shining Plains, and the Shining Plains have been described as one big battlefield by the residents of the plains. Fortunately, the only battles that have been fought on the plains have been those between the warring city-states of the region and not invading armies from nearby Am or Tether. And one of those locations that you might find interesting is Deepwing Mountains. Now, I really wanted to say Darkwing. The Darkwing Mountains. Wouldn't That'd be fun. It's populated by ducks. These jagged peaks mark the boundary of the Shining Plains. They're tall, spires shielding the grasslands from the Vilhon Reach beyond. And like all mountains, these are the homes of the fearsome beasts that prefer the seclusion that the ridges of the stones provide. Fire drakes are known to live in the deep wings, roosting in the high outcroppings of rock or small caves, and they leave humankind alone for the most part, although there have been some reported incidents of fire drakes attacking the thri-kreen of the rushing hills. Another area your PCs may want to visit is the Gulfmere Forest. It's best known for its patron and protector, Nobanyan, the lion god of Gulfmere. It is recognized throughout the Reach as the seat of power for druids. And within these woods is Cedarsproke. It is the druidic stronghold. It's the only major city located within the Gulfmere Forest. It's an independent city ruled with absolute authority by the Grand Druid Zalaznar Krinios. And Cedarsproke houses some of the most comprehensive histories of the Reach and the surrounding areas. It is unconquered, never been touched by invading forces, which tells me it's highly, there's a lot of magic and probably a lot of trees just gobbling people up. And while it's a druidic stronghold, Cedarsproke actively avoids appearing to be part of the Emerald Enclave. Good for them. Grand Druid Zalzanar Krinios maintains a neutral stance, never openly commenting on Enclave activities, even when he disagrees, to prevent weakening the religion. The Cedar River flows through Cedarsproke, dividing the city, occasionally used by traders to deliver goods directly, though most unload at Starmantle and continue overland. And as you would guess, it's mostly populated by druids or individuals seeking a simple, quiet life. And some of the attractions that are there, they have the Earthhome College, where you can take in a lecture. The religious significance of the area draws many pilgrims annually, and many adventurers visit seeking knowledge from the college's ancient texts. And because the forest is well-traveled, there's about a half a dozen inns ranging from the less reputable The Hoe, that's H-O-E, near the lakefront to the high-quality Silver Scythe near the Temple of Sylvanus. So if all you want to do is go to Cedarsproke just to do a bar crawl, well, you could do that as well, I guess. Then there are the Rushing Hills. These hills are located southeast of the city of Lashel and is home to the Tenpaw Tribe of thri-kreen. These are mantis warriors, if you're not familiar. Their territory extends from the hills southwest into the plains outside of the city of Cirque. The thri-kreen typically hunt rabbits, plain steeds, and other herd animals that venture into their territory. Now, there have been some conflicts between the thri-kreen and Lashel. About 10 years ago, Lashel tried to drive the thri-kreens away by preventing animals from entering the Rushing Hills. This only pushed the thri-kreen further north, leading them to attack travelers on the roads. And as a result, there's now a semi-official policy of driving some animals into the hills to keep the mantis warriors from disrupting merchants doing business in Lashel. Now, there are approximately about 50 thri-kreen in the hills, which seems kind of low, but 50 thri-kreen is, you can make it 100 if you want. They are nomadic, never establishing a permanent home. Non-insectoid travelers sometimes refer to them as the tri-kreen, referring to the three distinct packs that roam the hills. So I would make 3 tribes of thri-kreens, maybe 50 each, would give them, some good warring capabilities. And of course, PCs can go in there, help negotiate treaties or deliver horses to them, or any number of things that PCs could do. Of course, shenanigans will follow, giving your PCs lots to do and lots of adventure to have. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the most dominant force on the Shining Plains, and that is the Tenpaw Tribe. It is a tribe of Wemics, and they are considered the most powerful force on the Shining Plains, with some even claiming they surpass the Emerald Enclave in power. Now, their ferocity was famously demonstrated during the Battle of the Field of Tears, 326 DR, where the forces of Lashel and Ormath, who were battling with each other for supremacy, they fled before the Wemics, which Wemics are just cool. I mean, they're half lion and half humanoid. I mean, what's cooler than that? Now, while there are 3 Wemic tribes in the area, the Tenpaw are most akin to a nation of Wemics. The Tenpaw tribes number over 12,000 nomadic members, constantly moving within the Shining Plains. The other 2 Wemic tribes have approximately 1,000 members. And they are led by King Grouthgrowl, which is a great name, and he's assisted by 8 chieftain assistants and an advisor from the Emerald Enclave, spying, of course, on the Wemics. They need to throw that bum out of here. He's just spying on them. Anyway, Growthgrowl has little concern for humans as long as they do not infringe upon his territory. He deliberately does not levy tolls on trading caravans traveling north and south through his domain. Good on him. However, travelers moving east and west are frequently stopped and charged tolls. Now, the Emerald Enclave provides King Growthgrowl with intelligence reports concerning human activities relevant to his kingdom. While Growthgrowl has little personal care for the Enclave itself, he values them as strong allies and endeavors to provide them with useful information in return. So it's one hand, washes the other hand. There's got to be stability in the region, and I'm sure the Emerald Enclave is always making deals, but you say, look, we got to have a guy in there. Boy, this is like a super political area. So if you're looking for a political intrigue, the Shining Plains might be the place for you. Last but not least is the Wetwoods. Now, we mentioned the Wetwoods earlier because there may or may not be some lizardmen hanging out there. But what we know about the area is that it is kind of a swamp bog. And the swamp covers about 2/3 of the southern region, fed by the Wet River. It's frequently enveloped in thick fog, and trees are often covered with sheets of fungus obstructing visibility. Now, within the Wetwoods, a little town, if you want to call it, the Ermel, a community of Gripply, which is a small village of about 200 omnivores, has established the city of Ermel at the far eastern end of the Wetwoods. And they primarily aim to remain uninvolved in the fare of the humanoids. They just want to be left alone. Led by tribe mother Aloysius, an elderly Gripply who is nearly 400 years old. And Aloysius is fearful of human excursions into the Wetwoods, believing humans will eventually seek to expand their territory to include her village. And she's not wrong. And I think this might be a great adventure. Maybe it's protect the Gripplys. Maybe it's to not necessarily fight, but lead away groups of people who are trying to establish, whether they're humanoids or whether they're Thrycreans or even Weemix, whatever it may be, or maybe it's even the lizardmen themselves. The lizardmen maybe are trying to expand their territory, and the poor little Gripply community is like, hey, we could use some help there. So if you're looking for some political intrigue, if you're looking for an expansive place to put your PCs, from the mountains to the swamp and the bog to the plains to these 3 cities, then listen, the Shining Plains might be the place to bring your PCs. And listen, if you have stayed this long, first of all, thank you. Thank you for hanging out, being a part today. And don't forget, if you want more videos like this early, well, then you can join the membership and be a part of the community here. Would love you to do that. There'll be links down below for that, as well as links to my zine. So if you're looking for hex crawls, those kind of things, then links will be in the description as well. And listen, if you're looking for some other videos, I'm going to put some playlists up here. I don't even know what playlist I have up here, but they are a playlist with cool stuff. So if you want more information about things I do here on the channel, well, check out these playlists. That's it for today, everybody. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not a subscriber yet, and I'll see you all in the next video.